Hello, my viewer. Welcome back to Evangelist Mwai's channel. My name is Evangelist Mwai. I'm born again and I'm happy to be here today. I thank the Lord that He has given me yet another chance to come and speak to you. And I would like to welcome you back to this channel. If you're new here, please subscribe. Na feel much welcomed. Karibu sana. And here we have several purposes that we are here. One is to inspire. The second one is to give hope to the hopeless. And the third one is to heal the hurting hearts, because there are so many hearts that are hurting. There are so many hearts that are in pain that has been brought about by different issues, but we want to handle one particular issue that has been very common in our society, which I will tell you when the right time comes. But before then, God is putting into my heart that I should share with you my story. Before I tell you the program that He spoke to me 4 to 5 years back, and it has come a time that He wants me to execute this. And because I am just but His vessel, I will do it. But before then, I would like to walk you through my journey, where I have come from. First of all, I come from a family of what we call mixed races or something like that, though not really from afar, because wote ni watu wa mlima. So I was born by a mother who is from Meru and a father who is from Kikuyu land. That is why I'm called Evangelist Mwai. This Mwai is a Kikuyu, but my mom is a Meru. And when I came to know myself, I found myself without a dad. I would see my brother, I would see my sisters, I would see my mom, but I didn't have a father. And as you know, during our times, you didn't ask those questions. It's not like nowadays a child can ask you, and mommy, babangu ako wapi? Babangu ni nani? You know, I think we didn't even have those thoughts of asking. Okay, for me, let me speak for myself. There was no time that I remember asking my mom, where is my dad? I never did that. But I remember the ones that were there, the brothers to my dad, because if I have ever mentioned the word father from my mouth, it is either the small dad, the way we call them in Kikuyu, or small dad, because my dad was the firstborn in their family. So the other brothers were younger than him. And funny enough, he was the first one to pass away, followed by their second-born. And I found myself in a setup whereby we were so much hated, we were so much rejected, including my grandma and the two of the brothers to my dad, who hated us with passion. Because I remember there were some times that my grandma would chase us away from the home. And since I knew myself, we lived in grass-thatched houses. And so even the doors were not well made. I remember the hedges were made of tires. The tires, tire inakatwa, inapigiliwa hapa na hapa inakuwa hedge. So the door is able to move. So when my grandma used to chase us away, he would come with an axe and cut that hedge. Remember, it's a bladder like, so it could be cut. So she would come, cut it, and the door would fall off. And obviously, you cannot live in a house without a door. And so that was our life. I remember there was one of my father's brothers that were not living in the place that we were living. We were living in the piece of land that my grandma had been given. Remember, during those times, there was a time that people were being given lands, and so she acquired that land through that, because her native land, where original land where she came from, was in Nyeri. And so when she was told that there were some pieces of lands that were being given in Nyandarua, she went there, and that is where I was born and brought up. And so I remember this brother of my dad, who was not living together with us in that piece of land, we would go and seek solace in his home. He would host us for a few days, and then we would go back. He would speak to my grandma, then we would go back. But things got worse when one of the brothers to my dad came and joined us. He wasn't also living in that piece of land, but it came a time when he left wherever he was. It was chaotic wherever he was, and then he came. Remember, this is his mother's piece of land. And maybe when I was growing up, I didn't find my grandpa as well. My grandma was all alone. So we lived that life of on and off. We lived a life of being hated, being rejected, being chased out of our home. I remember when this brother of my dad came and built his house in that piece of land. There were at times, I think even before he came, my mom used to brew the busa, changa. She used to sell them so that she can put food on the table for us. And I remember when he came, he also did the same. And his was a complete family. He was there, the wife was there, and the children. And so what happened, let me take you back a little bit. This brother who has come and joined us in the middle of this, he is one of the ones who had, he's one of the people who shared my father's things when he died. When he passed on, before he was buried, and during the burial arrangements, those during that period, they shared whatever my father had, and without the consent of my mom. And I don't think my mom knew. I think she came to know thereafter, because why, that's another whole story. And we all know that when you are grieving, your mind is not all together, your mind is distorted, so you don't have it all together. You don't even know whatever is happening, who is doing what is happening where. And so they took advantage of that. They shared the clothes, the shoes, anything that was in that house. And so the rejection that I found continued to an extent that when now he came and started brewing the same changa in Busa, there could erupt fights between our families, my family and my uncle's family, which would not end up well. Sometimes we would be beaten up, chased away. All the children from that family are out with all kinds of things to fight you. all right? Be it pangas, be it all manner of sticks. There is a certain stick that is put in a jembe. I don't know how to call it in English, but they could use all manner of things to beat us, regardless of whatever they do, regardless of how young or old you are. I remember there was a time uh, my sister had come from a forest. I come from a place where we lived at the foot of a forest. So my sister had gone to fetch for firewood, and when she came, they started arguing with my cousins somewhere, and my brother found them arguing, and so a fight erupted. We didn't even know, but we had commotion, and anytime we would hear commotion, we were always alert because we knew anytime anything can happen. And so my younger brother was sent to check whatever was happening. He never came back, and we wondered. So my mom went to check whatever was happening, and I was left alone. And it was a season of maize. The maize were big, so it was kinda bushy. So when my mom went, she never came back also. So I locked the house and ran. And I remember it was so bad that my younger brother was almost dying in that circus. But I thank God that he was saved. God saved him. He rescued him in his own mysterious ways because we got him later on. Because when such things happened, ilikuwa mguu niponye, ni kupotea, you save your life. So I think he got stranded because during that time, everything would fly towards you. Mawe, miti, anything that they could get hold of. And I remember the people from my place would come out in great numbers to see. Ilikuwa ni kama sinema. It's like a movie, a live, I don't know, live in concert happening. They would come and watch whatever is happening. And when things got worse, that is when they were chipping in. Like, for example, during that day, when my brother missed, they chipped in. They got into our land, our shamba, wakaenda kumtafuta huko kwa mahindi huko, and he was found. And that is the life I have lived. So I have found myself without a dad. And the ones that were there that would have stood in as my dad have rejected us in a way that they are even fighting us, and they are showing us that we are not valuable, we are not wanted in that place. And so in short, we were not wanted in that place at all. And they showed us, actions speak louder than words. And we knew that we are not loved in that family. And so for us, we were always alert. I don't know, it was so tormenting, it was so toxic. Because anytime anything could have happened. There was this one day, I remember there was the changa and the busa. So when you brew this, you expect people to come and buy. So walikuwa wanakuja, they come and buy the local brews, they drink, and they are drinking from the same house that you are living. So ukipita hapo kuna mlevi anakuangalia na macho zingine zenye si za Mungu. Ukipita huku kwingine, yani we were living in a very toxic environment. Not because my mother wanted, but because she didn't have an option. And so she lived with that, and also as a peasant, going to do the daily vibaruas kwa watu huko. Anatafuta vibarua za kulima. Anaenda analima. And I remember there was even a time They were being paid, I think, 60 shillings per day. And so that is the life I have lived. And during all this time, I never got to a point where I asked my mom, where is my dad? Because I remember even the grave was there. We would be shown. And I remember when we were in a certain church, kuna vile tulikuwa tunadirectiwa, au sijui ukifika hapo unainama, sijui unafanya sign gani, all that. So we knew that our dad passed on and he's somewhere. We knew the grave, where the grave was. And the whole of this story, not one, not twice, we were chased out of our homes. Sometimes we would even go to these different brothers. Kama the one that followed my dad mwenye alipass, he had a piece of land somewhere far away from there. So sometimes we would go and sleep there. Then the following day when things come down, we come back. And kama mlango ulikuwa umeangushwa, tunakuja tena ni kama kujenga upya. And that was our life. I also remember there were some Nandis. Kuna Wanandi walikuwa wanakaa kwetu huko. We used also to seek solace from them. And that was my life. So things took a new turn when my mom alishindwa kabisa kutulipia shule, because remember this chang'aa na hii busaa yenye anapika could only be enough to get food for us. So having 6 children who are depending on you, you do not have any other person that you depend on. The brothers to your husband are chasing you up and down each and every day. So you don't have even hope for tomorrow. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. You are just living for today. And so I remember in 2000, there was a drought. And that is the year we were sent home, like for good. The head teacher closed the eyes and told us, the family of so and so, you have so much debt. By the time I open my eyes, I do not want to see you in this school. Take whatever belongs to you and go. In fact, he even faced another direction so that by the time he faces the parade, we won't be there. And that's what happened. We took our bags, we went home. And from that time, we never went back to school because my mom didn't have anything. And I remember in 2001, there was a certain family that had their daughter who was living in Nairobi, and she needed a house help. So after doing the Yamats and looking into that village, who can be the best or who could be available, I was picked. And so the mother came and spoke to my mother, and I went. At a very young age, I was in grade 5. I went to work as a house help. I worked for 1 year, and then 2002 I went back home. I spent the whole of that year at home. Remember from 2000, we never went back to school, 2001, 2002. And I also remember it's a long story. So when Kibaki came into reign, due to the free primary education, we were taken back to school. It had reached a point when I was employed and even after when I came home, it had reached a point that people thought that even if someone came, a well-wisher came and said that they would take us back to school, I won't go back to school because I had tasted money. But what they didn't know is that there was always a thirst in me, a hunger for education for me inside of me that no one could take out of me. And when Kibaki came into reign, we were taken back to school. And that is how I got a chance to study. Otherwise, I wouldn't be where I am today. It was out of God's grace. Because of my mom being a widow and because of us being fatherless, we faced a lot in life. I remember there was a time someone just from the family stabbed our sheep, thinking that it was my mom. A night that was very horrific. Fights erupted like it was a norm. Fights erupted. My mom, my mom shipped us into a neighbor's home. Actually, I remember that night tulienda kwa wale Wanandi I had told you. And she went back. My mom. I don't even know what to say about her, but she's an iron lady. She used to face the problems face on, head on. And she went back. And I remember it was during the night. And so I remember in the morning when we went back, we found a dead sheep. It had been stabbed 3 times. And the dagger or whatever had been used to stab it was big enough because you would see how it had been stabbed. But shock on whoever had done that. In the morning, they were looking at us with weird faces and with shocked faces because they thought it was my mom who had been stabbed. You see the way you do something evil, you go and unajigamba kwa watu, yes, I have done it, you know, nimeifanya, you know. But in the morning they found out, shock on you, it was a sheep because whoever was doing that was also drunk. And it has been a very painful experience. And because I do not want to tire you with a very long story, I will still come back here and tell you how that affected me. Because these people who don't want you around, and mostly the reason as to why we were not wanted around that piece of land is because the people who were doing that were interested in this piece of land. And so if they managed to chase us out of that land, they would grab that piece of land. But my mom fought, and that made us never to have any solid property that we would hold on for a long period of time, because each and every time there would erupt a fight, anything that would go into the direction of chasing out of that land, that piece of land, my mom would go to the chief, report the case. And you know, because of the systems that we have in Kenya, you cannot go to report a case without some money. So she would get whatever was there. I remember we used to keep sheep, and hazikuwa zinapita 12. The moment zikifika 12, something erupted. Some fight erupted. My mom would get the sheep, anauza, to cater for whatever problem that was there. And now 2003, I have gone back to school, but still we are still brewing the changa and the busa. All right. And because of this lack of a father figure in my life, I came to realize later on there were some things that came to happen to me because of that, that really affected my life. And I will tell you, now from that point, when I went back to school, which class did I go back to? And what happened from there on up to where I am? I will take you slowly by slowly, giving you step by step of my story up to where I am and why God has given me a task to carry on for His glory. So let me read there for today. May God bless you for listening to this story. And if you're out there and maybe you have gone through some of the things that I have gone through, you can comment down below. Let's share. Your experience might not be my experience, and together we can encourage one another. We can give hope to the ones that are going through the same and they feel hopeless. They feel at the end of their lives. I can tell you for sure, there is a God of another chance. Do not give up. Keep on keeping on, holding up to God, because God, one day God will come for your rescue. So thank you so much for keeping it here at Evangelist Mwai's channel. I do not take it for granted. May God bless you. For those who have not subscribed, please subscribe to this channel. Press on that notification bell so that whenever I put on a video, you will be the first one to be notified. Subscribing is free and God will bless you. It's just a way of supporting me and showing me love and showing me that whatever I'm bringing to you is valuable and meaningful to you. So may God bless you so much. And until next time, when I will continue with that story, may God keep you, may God protect you. And until then, bye-bye.